What's up, party people? It's KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live in a living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time. DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Speaking of entertainment, today on the program, I have Stephen Walker. Stephen Walker, singer-songwriter out of Austin, Texas. Yeah, we're going to learn a little bit more about Stephen Walker in the next few minutes, so stick around. This week's shows, my regular Friday night gig. I have my one public show. This is the one that you're all invited to. You can't come to my private events unless you're invited. But you are all invited to the public show every Friday night at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. The Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam. Yes, I said karaoke. It's a little concert starring each and every one of you. The stage is yours, at least for a few minutes, at least for a song. At least one song at a time. Yeah, you get to perform in front of all these nice people at the Rab, your favorite place to be in the whole wide world. I said it. They got a full bar. The kitchen's open. Good food, good people. Oh, and they got pool tables, 10 diamond style professional pool tables at the Rab. They have a pool tournament on Friday nights. So if you want to try your hand at playing pool and possibly make some money while you're doing it, I encourage you to check out the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. We start at 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the a.m. Friday night into the wee hours of the Saturday morning. Oh, yeah, for sure. And then on Saturday, oh, yeah, it's always open for private events. I've been doing a lot of weddings. So much fun. So glad I get to be a part of people's big days and play for them. I'm so happy that they entrust me with their, a wedding is a one-time thing. It better be. You hear me? And you want it to be perfect. And I always want it to be perfect. So I get a little nervous beforehand, but then it always works out just fine. It's nice. And then I like the birthday parties and the corporate events too. The Video Dance Party Karaoke Jams. Yeah, check. I'm so glad I still get to do this after all these years. Still crazy after all these years. Why did that Paul Simon song pop into my head? All right, that's enough intro. Let's get into it with Stephen Walker. I got him on Skype, so if you're listening to the audio version, I encourage you to check out the video version on my YouTube page, youtube.com/user/KeysDAN. Skyping Stephen Walker now. And that's you. That's you in the window. That's you in the window right next to me, right there. Stephen Walker in the house. Right. What's going on, man?
Hey, I'm sitting still. How are you?
Oh, fan-bloody-tastic. See, I didn't know how to spell your name because I've seen it both ways. I've seen the S-T-E-E-V-N, and I've seen the common spelling of S-T-E-V-E-N. What is the moniker? What have you branded as the real Stephen Walker, the only Stephen Walker? Tell me about you, man.
I'm a terrible brander. I don't understand it. I thought it would be nice to have it switch the E and the V, because I thought I was more of an indie guy back then. But I don't know. But I thought it would be like easier to find on the internet, and like I could still keep my name. So I felt like it was still being honest, but I don't know. I just thought it would be more memorable, but it's a terrible idea actually, because it's really hard to find. You have to like tell Google that you're looking for it, and then you have to say, no, I don't mean Steven, I mean Steven. And so you have to double click, but once you're there, you're there. So it's kind of a bad idea.
I found you on Facebook, and I was like, I said, Okay, well, there it is on Facebook that way with the STEEVN, but then everywhere else it's Stephen Walker. In fact, you have not just one, but two Instagrams, the only true Stephen and the real Stephen Walker. So, hey, I guess that's the one. The second one that I said is the one that you use the most, or do you use both of them?
Well, I guess like the only true is my older one, and that's becoming more of like a personal account. And the real is more like like just whatever goes.
I get it, man. Hey, I got 4 different Instagrams that
Wow.
I have one for the radio, one for kind of personal, but it's never personal. It's always the branding for KeysDAN, then the radio then one for karaoke, then one for the What Makes You Famous podcast, then one for the KeysDAN show. It's tough. And I know we're starting right here in the social media because that is the way of the now. It used to be that a musician can get on stage, do an audition for a record label, and the record label will decide whether they're worthy of the label, they're not worthy of the label, sign them to a $1 million deal, sign them to a $100 deal, whatever the case may be. But now it's, how many followers do you have? We don't even care about your music so much. We want to know how many followers you got on Instagram or TikTok or Twitter or Facebook even. I mean, I guess Facebook is for old folks like me. But, what's your idea of navigating through the world as a musician? And I do want to get to, you said that you were more independent before. Are you a corporate man now?
Yeah, I work for Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I worked for the Colonel, man, back in 19.
Oh, did you? It was a joke. I was just making a joke.
That's so funny.
Corporation I could think of.
No, I worked for the Colonel back in 1986, man. It was one of my first jobs.
Oh, what'd you do?
Well, everything at the store, and I dressed up like the chicken. Yeah. I dressed up like a chicken for the corporate events in South Florida. Whenever they had a grand opening or some kind of a charitable event, I would dress up like the chicken. So I had a T-shirt made up that said "Chicken Man" on the back. Hey, it was one of my first jobs in the entertainment business. It's still the entertainment business, right?
It's entertaining somebody for sure.
I entertain myself, man. All right. So
that's good.
I know we've been in this for minutes now, and people, I still haven't even asked for you to tell the people, who are you, Stephen Walker, who you are?
I am a guy who makes music, and I like to talk to people and meet people and make music.
Well,
and a lot of music related stuff.
You have a very short bio. It's a blurb, really. It says Austin singer songwriter playing music for people with ears. I have ears. I'm lucky because I get to hear the music of Stephen Walker. And you're out there in Austin. From what I understand, everybody's getting out of California and moving to places like Austin. Is that what's happening? Is your city getting bigger and bigger and more populated by these by these liberal California people that are coming in and changing? Okay, no. Tell me about how Austin's doing.
Everything. Mostly license plates. That's the main change I see is license plates.
Well, what's on the license plates?
I need a shoot. This is such a terrible thing. I didn't know I was going to be using the phone. It's not well charged. Let me plug it in real quick. Can I?
Okay. I have the ability to edit if you need to go somewhere or get a charger.
I think I got one handy.
I may not edit any of this. I may just look at the room. For the people that are listening to the audio version of this, I encourage you to check out the video version. And if you're listening and watching the video version, then just stay where you are. Unless you're driving a car. If you're driving a car, no, get off the video version.
Sorry.
But I'm looking at your room. It looks like the room where it happens. I see guitars. I see a microphone. It looks like you have some kind of recording equipment that you can do your music on your own. That mic, it's what do they call it? Blue ball mic?
Yeah, it was a gift. And it actually, I didn't know how to use it for a long time, and then now I like using it.
Well, somebody loves you. I've gone to some of my local guitar places, and this is not well, I guess I'll give a shout out to the people that take a lot of my money. Guitar Center. I go to Guitar Center and I look at one of those mics, and those things are pretty expensive. So somebody loves you, man.
Really?
From what
Well,
I
I think
understand.
it was. I think somebody left it at his house, and it is kind of broken. And the sound is a little bit deteriorated, but it actually sounds kind of cool like that, I think.
All right, so we're going with the finders keepers laws. I guess there's a law,
Yeah, he
finders keepers.
started shows at his house, yeah. And then I think somebody like drunkenly left it there, and then I was hopefully, I think that's the story.
How do you leave a microphone, man? How do you leave equipment, important equipment at
Also,
people's houses?
when it gets locked up everywhere.
That's true. That's true. Over the years, and yeah, 1986 was when I first started in this business we call show, and I've left equipment, little pieces of equipment here and there, cables, microphone, yeah, little bit, a light or something. Yeah, I get you. I get it, man, and that's the way it goes. But all right, Austin, is that the place you're born and raised?
No, I'm one of those jerks from California, actually.
What? Okay, that's
Yeah.
very prophetic of me, man. Tell me about California. Were you born in California, raised there?
Well, Southern California, which I know doesn't count for anything, but no, I grew up in Orange County, which is not at all like the TV show that I know of.
Oh, that Colin
Um,
Hanks.
the TV show absolutely ruined it. That's why everybody's leaving, because that show.
Okay,
But
I haven't.
I don't know.
I'm aware that there's a show called
Where
Orange
I grew up
County.
was
I'm aware that there's a show called Orange County, but I've never seen one episode.
oh yeah, neither have I.
Okay,
But I hear it's actually not bad.
okay,
But I don't know if I'm gonna watch it.
okay.
But I hear it's maybe like more of a criticism than anything. But I don't know.
Well,
Maybe I made that up. I don't know.
well, I've done parties in San
That might be
Diego.
false. That might be totally false.
I might have driven through Orange County, but I've done parties in San Diego, L.A., Bakersfield. When I was, I drove cross country, and I'm from Miami in the Florida Keys, but I drove cross country and I did parties in California, all up the coast, I guess, and it was pretty neat, man. It was nice going from East Coast to West Coast. The vibe is different. Tell me about your Orange County and what it's like to grow up on the West Side.
Well, it's very Disneyland centric. Everything's Disneyland related, just like in Las Vegas, it would be casinos, or in Austin, it's live music, or Nashville, it's country music or whatever. It's like in Orange County, it's Disneyland. So it's very like, it's a strangely corporate, and like the Pete Seeger's Little Boxes. It's like the whole place is like that. I kind of feel like, not the whole place, but it's just like it's a good, probably a really great place to raise a family.
Yeah, I lived in Orlando for about a year, and it's very Disney World. So I guess I know what you're thinking of, or what you might be trying to explain, is like 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag. It's a lot of tourism jammed into one little place. I had to learn how to say hello and goodbye in 20 different languages just to get through.
Yeah, I mean the tourism is big time. And it's kind of LA. It's like the suburban part of LA, basically. So it's like I don't know. It's nice. It's parts of it are cute, quaint. It's an interesting place. There's a lot of cool people there. I'm sure there definitely are.
Well, I mean, you were one of them.
But I didn't particularly want to stay in Orange County that much, so I did a bunch of stupid traveling when I was a stupid kid, and eventually wound up in Austin.
Well, tell me about your stupid traveling as a stupid kid. I mean, it's nice to go traveling, nice to take in the sights. Did you go across country or even around the world? Where did you go?
I gave up all. I sold as much as I could of what I had and hitchhiked around for 2 years.
That's fan-bloody-tastic, man. I've
It's
heard of
kind of
it.
stupid. It
What
was actually really stupid,
sounds
and I
like it,
don't recommend it.
but in the 70s, people used to hitchhike all the time. When and
Yeah, but
that's
now like,
yeah.
it's different.
Is it
It's
though?
not fun anymore.
I mean,
It's not like the cool '70s where you're like, yeah, you go hitchhike. It's like the 2010s, and everybody's like, "What the hell are you doing, man? I don't trust you at all. Why would I trust you?"
that is so sad, man. People are still people.
Not
Uh,
everybody.
People are still people, no matter what time period it is. Some are jerks, and most people are pretty
Oh, they're
good.
not jerks.
I,
Yeah, I
I,
wouldn't pick up a hitchhiker probably.
I mean, but I feel like most people are pretty good. They're not gonna kill you. Most people, if they do
Probably
pick you
not.
up on the side of the road, it's not gonna get weird. Really.
Probably not.
Although I've seen movies about that in this about the 70s and 80s and people picking up hitchhikers. Sometimes it does get weird. Sometimes.
I, I totally get it. Like, if I was like half the population, if I was like a single woman, I probably wouldn't pick up a hitchhiker. And like for a lot of people, I just, like, why would you take the risk when, it's so easy to just keep driving? I get it. I get it. I wouldn't even say yeah, you should go up and pick up hitchhikers. It's rude not to. I totally get it. Like,
But you did make it on this cross country travel, and I'm wondering the type of person that would pick up a hitchhiker. This is what's in my head: a traveling salesman that maybe is kind of lonely, a trucker that wants also lonely. People that travel and might be just looking for some company. See a Stephen
yeah.
Walker on the side of the road. Did you have a guitar slung over your back or a backpack, or what were you traveling with?
I was given 7 guitars, and then I gave them all away as well. But I spent most of my time. I wanted to just have a small backpack, so I just had mostly just a sleeping bag and then a couple other things. And what was the first part of the question?
Well, I mean, did you travel with? What did you travel with? But and what
Oh
kind of
yeah,
people
yeah.
were picking you up? And how did you
Oh
sustain
yeah, all sorts.
how did you sustain yourself going cross country? And what are the highlights? What are the cities that you traveled to?
Oh yeah. So I mean, the best way, if you're ever like everybody is dead and you run out of money, here's a tip. If you put on your best clothes, clean up as best as you can, put on your best accent, and go to any small business restaurant or really any restaurant, and then say, hey, do you have any food that you're going to throw away later that I can have? I'm a nice guy. I'm traveling, blah, blah, blah. And then if they say no, then you go to another one. And if they say no, then you go to another one. And you do that maybe once, maybe 3 times, but usually once or twice, honestly. Depending on the person, there's probably a lot of factors that go into that are important. But, that I think for some people that might be a helpful strategy. That's what I did all the time. I would just go from restaurant to restaurant and just ask them if they have food they're going to throw away. It's kind of like, I don't know. It was a stupid thing to do, honestly. It was kind of a waste of everybody's resources.
Yeah, but kids are going to do it, man. If I had the time and if I was in my late teens, early 20s, which I did drive cross country and that same trip that I was talking about where I went all the way to California, across country through Austin. I did parties in Austin and all the way across Texas and down the 10 to the 8 up the 101. So I sound like the Californians from SNL.
Yeah, I heard all those numbers.
Yeah, but yeah, the way to go. But if I had it to do, I would do it. I could see going cross country on your wits, but going back to KFC, we always had food at the end of the night, and we were always trying to figure out what to do with that food. And if we saw somebody homeless outside, we'd give them a bucket. Give them a bucket.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, and a lot of people have that, especially in restaurants, have that mentality. I find in restaurants, people, they work for cheap, and so they understand what it's like to go hungry for a day or whatever, So, I just feel like there's kind of a culture about it. But unfortunately, there's a lot of legal issues that surround it because you give somebody food, they get sick. You're responsible for that to an extent. So it does get complicated, and I understand the restaurant refusing. I totally get it.
Man, and that's the world we live in. Very litigious, or litigious, I guess is the word. People like to sue
But
other people and get that.
yeah, yeah,
And
I've heard of that happening. Like in California, there's a specific law that went into place because a guy who was given free food got sick and then sued the restaurant or something like that. I don't know if it's an actual law, but I think it was something like that. But you could also just go and say, like, if you don't feel comfortable with that, you could also say, like, can I do a little bit of work, which I also did too sometimes. But oftentimes they just don't really have anything for you to do. Realistically, sometimes they do.
all right, well,
But I got a lot of weird little like 1-day jobs.
like what?
Cleaning people's like cleaning porches and building porches and plumbing and little weird tasks and building like IKEA furniture and all sorts of just weird little jobs and helping people like clean their backyards and like hopping onto some kind of not construction, but maybe I don't know, some kind of outfit that's a business or something that needs a little bit of like labor for the day.
That's fantastic, man. A lot of people take that 1 year off before, between high school and going to college. And what are you going to do in that 1 year? Go work at a Joe job? Go work at a KFC or a McDonald's? But yeah, you could do a lot worse than traveling across the country. And if you don't have the means to take a car and have gas money, then I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't suggest the way that you did it. But it is a way, man, and you did see the country. What are the highlights, the good spots to visit cross country via Stephen Walker's walking tour?
Austin, Texas, San Marcos, Texas. I liked small towns when I was doing that because small towns there was frankly just less competition. Like there were less other people who were in a similar boat. And so it was calmer and I didn't have to fight so hard for resources, just being real frank.
Well, I mean, as far as the homeless the population, I think they do travel south. They tend to be in Southern California, Texas, Florida, down in the South. It's a big homeless population, and people do like to travel. And I know I'm lumping in the unhoused with the traveling, I don't know, what would you classify your form of traveling? A hitchhiker, a hobo?
Yeah, I do obviously like the word hobo, but I know it's very uncommon, so it's like I don't know, but it would be weird to like call myself a hobo.
At least at that time.
But in my mind at the time, because I was crazy back then, I had problems.
Okay.
There were things going on. I wasn't just doing that because I was like, ooh. I know I was really making mistakes, in my opinion. But I don't know. I at the time I thought I was like just doing what was like some kind of American traditionalism that's positive, like a positive youth ritual bullshit thing. Sorry, can I swear?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you can if you want. I'm not going to, but it's a rite of passage.
I'm sorry. I do every once in a while, accidentally, pretty much.
People swear. I get it. No, but it's a rite of passage. People are young and dumb. I think there's songs written about it. But all right. Where are you fiddling with music at the time? Do you had 7 guitars? Yeah. Were you playing all of them, or were you playing in high school or as a kid? What were you? Where were you finding your musical beginnings?
Well, we had guitars in the house, or one guitar in the house growing up, and I played on that sometimes, but I didn't really get into it until later, guitar specifically. But yeah, I played a lot of music, went to a lot of open mics back then, and just met people and did a lot of in-person stuff, and just made a lot of songs that I don't remember and I didn't record or anything like that, and I just wouldn't be able to bring them back in any way.
How sad
So
is
it's just,
that? How sad is
not
that?
sad at all.
Well,
If they were good, I would have remembered them.
yeah, but that would be your rare recordings, the ones that people want to dig up after you make it to the next level. People want to find out, hey, what did he sound like when he was 9 years old? What was he into? You said there was one guitar in the house. Was that your guitar, or did it belong to another family member? Mom, dad, brothers, sisters?
Yeah, it's actually back there in the case. It's a 1972, bought around that time, Yamaha practice guitar that my mom bought and took to Colombia as a missionary. Sorry to laugh.
That's pretty
it's
cool.
just funny that she did that, because she's a cool lady. But yeah, she has this guitar that I just think sounds great, even though it was a cheap guitar at the time. I think they built things differently back then or something, because it just sounds great, and it's just a nice little guitar.
Well, from what I'm told, it's not the age of the guitar, it's the guitar being played, the oils from your fingers, the strings, the way the wood gets oiled by your hands. Because Yamaha, I don't think, I know that they do make guitars, but they're not known for their guitars as so much. I mean, I think I have a Yamaha mixer.
Jet skis.
What's that?
Jet skis.
Yeah, yeah, there is that. But I think I have a Yamaha mixer that I use for karaoke shows, and I like it because it has a nice echo effect for the people that maybe they don't sing. Nobody sings professionally. Hardly anybody sings professionally when they come to a karaoke show. So I give them a little echo, and it makes them sound really nice, little effects. So I try to make people sound right. So the great people at Yamaha make good mixing boards. But I guess they make guitars as well. I've seen a Yamaha guitar, and you say it sounds really good. It stays in tune when you're playing it. Is that the only guitar you have left?
Yeah, I'm renting a guitar, an electric guitar, Stratocaster. I think that's what it is. I'm not gonna check, but yeah, it's pretty nice too. But it's a rental, so it's not mine.
Okay, all right. Is it like a rent to own type of business, type of deal, or renting?
No, it's just straight rental. Yeah, a nice place
Fantastic,
called
man.
Rock and Roll Rentals. Actually, yeah, they're nice people.
Well, you reminded me of my first gig back in 1986. I did a wedding. I got paid $50, but I rented the equipment for $70 from Guitar Center.
Oh,
So I guess I lost money on that, but I got good exposure. I got good, valuable education. And sometimes you get an education on the job when you're doing the music thing. So, I mean, you said you took classes. Were you in school learning music as well in high school and grade school?
I played trumpet and trombone as a kid, and did that.
I am finding that trumpet and trombone is a gateway instrument into other instruments. You'd be surprised at how many guitarists I've talked to on this podcast that started as tromboners. It's amazing.
Really?
It is. And now they're playing rock and roll. They're doing their thing. They're doing exactly what you're doing, getting out there and playing for the people. Because I know that you have a big YouTube presence and a big Instagram presence. You play a lot of music on there. Is that all recorded right there in your home studio, or do you have another studio that you go and record things at?
Yeah, honestly, I have, for mostly disorganizational reasons, I just have not had access to great equipment throughout, like, most of my musical journey or whatever. So this is actually, for me, this is great. But in the past, like, I was really working with very cheap equipment. So it was just kind of like whatever I could try to get to sound good with the equipment that I had available. And so I think it limited what I could do, but there's some value in limitation sometimes. And and now I'm starting to like reach out to people who record stuff and trying to do that a little bit more. But it's really different. I'm so used to recording my own stuff my own way, like with little hacks that I figured out that make sense to me, but I couldn't really explain.
Well,
'Cause, yeah,
well, I'll
a
let
lot of
people know
that.
that you're currently on your phone, and we're recording this interview with Skype on your phone. But before that, you were on a computer that didn't have a camera, and it sounded
Yeah.
really good. Did you have a microphone plugged into your computer, or was it
Yes.
using?
Yeah.
It was
That's
that
why it's
blue mic plugged into your computer. It's amazing what you could do for under $1,000. You can
well, I
have
think these
yourself.
are $200.
What's that?
I think these are $200 out of the box.
Yeah, for under $1,000, you can have a computer, a microphone, maybe some kind of an interface to get that mic into the computer, and you could make pretty decent demos. You know, maybe it might be good enough to where you could take it to a studio or somebody with a discerning ear and do that mix mastering, which I have no idea what a mix master is, but I feel like it's what I do, the similar to what I do to the voice portion, the audio portion of this podcast. I mix them. I make sure that the levels are all straight and make sure that it sounds right. But I mean, do you feel like you make all your music nowadays in your room with that blue mic with the computer that you were on?
Yeah, it's always been in a room with a computer and a microphone. It's always been that. I just have come out with a couple albums, not too many, but a few of them, and they've always just been in some weird room somewhere that I had access to for extended periods of time, and then like had a microphone that I liked the way it sounded. And luckily, I'm like now I have like a normal job and shit. And, I'm a little bit different, but so it's I have a more access to that room, I guess. But that's nice. Um, but other than that, I guess it's just taking a microphone, figuring out what makes it sound good, why it sounds good, and then only like not only, but just focusing on how to make that sound good instead of trying to do whatever's in your head.
Yeah, I'm of the age where I came through from analog into digital. In fact, when I started on radio back in '86, I had to learn analog, reel to reel. That's what we had. CDs were coming into play, so we were changing over from albums, from vinyl records over to CDs. And we played tapes every once in a while. We still had cart machines, but then I had to go back to school back in 2003 to learn all the digital and what's going
Yeah.
on. Now you still say cut and splice and you still say,
Yeah.
cut and paste, but that's coming from the analog and it's just being translated into the digital. Did you ever deal with a reel to reel, or are you in the digital age, all digital?
Because the thing is that when I grew up, like we had a computer, and then I got a computer later, and first thing I wanted to do was make music on it, of course. So I got Audacity, if anybody remembers that, Audacity, and I just would do like things over things, and or recordings over recordings, and release them on the internet because the internet was around then, and um nobody would listen because nobody went on the internet for music back then too.
Well, I mean,
But or
when
for
you're
my
trying to,
music certainly because it was not very good.
well, if this is around the 2000s, are you able to upload your music? I guess YouTube was around the mid 2000s, 2005. I guess that's how Justin Bieber got his start, playing
Yeah,
on YouTube, and I guess that was a way to get noticed.
yeah, I was a little too early for like the big internet explosion, like for like high school or anything. But thank God, because that I would have embarrassed myself on that stupid thing. Oh, that would have been awful. But luckily, I was in it, like almost pretty much in some kind of an adult, like a young adult, by the time that the internet really exploded. Like by the time everybody started using it, you know,
Oh yeah.
like literally.
Oh, I had Technique turntables, and I had to give those up back in 2000. You know, and I went full digital. You have to know where. Don't be afraid of technology. You know, you got to either you get on board or you get left behind. And I guess
Unless you're Amish.
What's that?
Unless you're Amish.
Yeah, but even the Amish use technology to a point, okay? Because a hammer is still technology. You could be banging a rock against another rock, you know, or they're still using some kind of technology up till a point.
The Amish, I think, really they just don't use the technology that normal people care about. Like anything that normal people think is like, oh, this is my favorite thing. The Amish are like, we're not going to do that.
Right.
And that's where you draw the line.
Yeah,
Not, you know, because it's like, yeah, you're right. A hammer is technology. Why, why stop at electricity, you know?
Right.
And it's because it pisses us off. It's like, how dare you not have electricity? It's just a joke. I get it now. You know, it makes sense.
You know, a wagon, a wheel. The wheel was invented. It's technology.
Yeah. How dare you use a wheel and a horse? I consider that technology.
No, a horse is natural. See, that's where I'd have to come to a head with you. I think I'd have to get on that mountain and fight you. A horse.
I'll think about it.
But all right, man. But you're writing music as a kid. You're learning how to play. You're playing. Are you playing in the band? Do you do marching band or seated band? Do you do any concerts when you're growing up?
I did marching band. I was in like a couple rock and roll bands and just like little things with just little high school things. You know, if some of them didn't last very long at all, and most of them. Almost all of them. And, you know, it was just fun. Back then, you just do it for fun, you know.
But did you get to play that birthday party, that school dance? Did you get to play anywhere for people?
No, our school didn't have dances.
Oh, man. We cutting Footloose. You went to the Footloose school, didn't you?
Pretty much. But we didn't miss dancing. We were glad there were no dances because dances they're horribly awkward if you think about it.
That's right.
You could just dance.
Because girls back then are yucky. Girls are yucky.
No, not at all. It's just like, I don't want to go to a dance. That's like I don't know. That's not really my like move, you know.
Come on.
In high school, I wouldn't have really wanted to dance that much.
So
I think there was a prom.
All right. So when you're with your guitar, you're not shaking it like George Michael. You're not shaking around and dancing with your guitar.
Oh, well, I try to. Well, I don't. I like to move around. Moving is fun, but I don't know if it's technically dancing or not.
All right. Well, I mean, let's keep going through the years with Stephen Walker, and I guess we're going to leave that Stephen Walker spelled S-T-E even.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Maybe it's going to be Saint even.
Yeah, I mean, I would say just go to Instagram. Eventually, I'm going to put links to everything, so it'll all be on there. So.
Oh, I got your link tree, and I have all your links all loaded up, and they'll be in the show notes for sure.
I lost you for a second.
Yep, you froze up for me. But yeah, I have your link tree, and I have all your links in the show notes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, man. But all right. So growing up, you're walking around the country. You're finding out about mostly the South, I guess. You found out about Texas, Austin, the small towns in Texas. Texas is huge, man. Yeah. I drove from East to West Texas. It took 9 hours, man. It was big.
It's a big state, yeah, and I'm right in the middle of it. But my Texas experience was just lovely. The first day I got to Texas, I was in Phoenix, Arizona. I was hitchhiking. I didn't have a good time in Phoenix. Phoenix was really rough on me. Like, nothing really bad happened, but like I just found that people were kind of not having me that day, you know. And it was just, I was like, get me out of there. I had a little bit of money in my pocket because somebody gave me like $40 or something.
Nice.
And I was like, you know what? I was new to hitchhiking. I was like, I hear about these like services on Craigslist that you can just call and then they're already driving across country and they'll pick you up on their way. You know, that was a thing back in the day when people trusted each other. But so it was one of those, and she was a really nice lady, it sounded like. So I was like, hey, can you pick me up for $40 or it was actually $60, and then I had to make 20 more bucks. So I asked people for money, which I hate doing. But yeah, and then she picked me up, and it turned out that there were these guys from Texas in there, and they were all going to Texas because they're from Texas, and they were going to San Marcos, which is right south of Austin. And it turns out they were smuggling weed into Texas from California, and there were these hippie guys, and I was just like, damn it, I kind of look like a hippie. If the cops pull us over, they're totally going to think I'm with these guys. And they just told me about this weed thing, and now I'm worried about that. And I planned out my story. You know, I just met these guys. It's literally true. It's not my weed, you know, because I knew about Texas. And anyway, we got to the border, and there's literally a dog sniffing the car in front of us. And I'm like, okay, my story checks out. The lady's going to say it's true because it is true. She's not going to lie for some reason. She's not in on it. She has no idea this is going on. And then for whatever reason, well, I know why, because she happened to be the most innocent, sweet lady like you ever met in your life. The cop was just like, where are you guys going? And she was like, oh, we're going to San Marcos. And he was like, okay, you're good. And I'm very happy about that. Anyway, I got to San Marcos, and it was this big party because I guess they owned a little bit of property by the water. And this guy Red, and I met this dude named Big Tex, who was like as tall as I was, and everybody called him Big Tex. It was not a joke. It's true. He was like fucking Big Tex. I'm sorry, just keep swearing. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. He and you know, he incidentally he was from Louisiana, but he didn't want to be called Louise.
No, but he called me Little Cali.
Little Cali.
And I had moonshine the first time that night, first night in Texas. It was a concert in the backyard, and it was honestly like one of the best concerts I'd ever been to. And it was just a little family affair that I was invited to. It was the first night of their family reunion, and had excellent food. The guy told me these great jokes that are too long to repeat about Texas. He told me all the Texas jokes. We drank moonshine all night. He would like slap me on the back. Look, Kelly, you're gonna like it. And it was just the greatest. He had a cowboy hat. He had the fucking shirt. He had the jeans. Guy had the drip. You know, it was just an excellent evening. Everybody was really nice. And I stayed in San Marcos for about a month, just doing chores and picking pecans off the trees. I would throw a stick up in the tree and then collect the pecans and then sell them at the grocery store for like $20 a day at the most.
Nice.
And pays for your food, you know.
Yeah.
And it had just a wonderful time, just like hanging out with the weirdos there, and just people were way friendlier than what I had ever really was used to in California. Because in California, there's this ironic distance at best, you know.
Well, it sounds like you fell into a good group in Texas, right there in the Austin area. Was it San Marcos? You said
San Marcos, yeah.
That's fantastic, man. Did you get to play with any of these people that in the backyard band?
I didn't play that night, but I just played a lot around that town. Yeah, or a couple places, I think.
All right.
A lot of like people's houses and stuff.
Was that your official move? Was that your official move to Austin from Orange County, or did you go back to Orange County for a little bit?
I went like all over the place for years, and then met somebody up in Minnesota, and then was like, hey, let's move to Austin. And then because I always liked it here. and I wanted to live in a city, like a bigger city, you know. But I always liked it here because of just how cool everyone has been
Well, I mean,
generally, like in comparison to
I think I
down.
watched. I'm pretty sure I watched Crocodile Dundee, and the guy had a walkabout, and that's exactly what you'd had was a walkabout, just trying to figure out things and find things and look at things. So you had what the Australians often do, and I think what you just said about the Amish, don't they take a year off and have Rumspringa? You know, and go find out about the world and find out what's going on. So you even made it all the way to Minnesota from Texas. Did you come through Arkansas and such?
I've been through Arkansas. I didn't spend much time in Arkansas. Spent a lot of time in Utah and New York State, different parts of California, Oregon, in Texas, Louisiana. But I did come through Arkansas. Mostly, I've been through Hot Springs.
Oh.
That was the place I remember the most.
Yeah, you could put your feet in the hot springs. First time I went there, I put my feet in the fountain, and my wife got a little put out by it. But hey, I said I'm in Hot Springs. I'm going to put my feet in the fountain, and I did.
The one at the park, like in the middle of town.
Oh, right in the middle of town. I put my feet right in it.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. But look, man, when you said you went cross country, I figured maybe it's a few months, but you said years. You spent
just 2 years.
But still,
only 2.
Some people go to college. You went to the school of life, man. You walking around the country and trying to figure things out. I'm sure you learned a lot going around. Did you actually go to college or no?
I tried it out, but I didn't at the time. I didn't feel like it was for me, and I gave it less than a semester, and then I was like, you know what, I could be saving money. But I don't know if I feel the same. I kind of wish I went, you know, but I don't know. It doesn't matter. I honestly like.
Oh man,
well, it does. Actually, it depends on your situation, but
yeah,
like it's complicated as hell. It's complicated as hell.
I mean, for the big things like the lawyering, the doctoring, and all the stuff where you need, you know, book smarts. But I think pretty much everything is on YouTube. If you want to learn how to be a construction worker or plumbing or how to build IKEA furniture, you could either go take a walkabout like you did, or you could go on YouTube and figure it out, you know? So I think everything's out there online. Some people are
really hard to learn online. Like construction trades, you need to like have a person there to like tell you what not to do, you know, or you'll get a finger blown off or whatever.
You better believe it, man. Yes. Please don't take all of your advice from this podcast. By all means, my loyal listener, do not.
No,
but you can learn how to play guitar online for sure.
Yeah. No, there's a lot. Yeah. I just wouldn't trust an online doctor, like a doctor who learned online.
No,
I mean, maybe for some things, but I don't know.
No, the doctor and the lawyer and the people with book smarts, the scientist. Yeah, you need to go to school and get some higher learning from people that have done it before, for sure. No, but all right, let's. I know we've been spinning for a little bit for a little while, but I do want to get into where Stephen Walker is as a musician. You said you were independent. You're more independent way back when. Are you still independent without representation?
Yeah.
On your own, just doing it all by yourself? It's really tough to do.
I got friends, but and I'm trying to make more friends, but I feel like I don't know. I just don't think about it that much. Like, why would I don't really even think about being independent. I just like, why would I sell the rights to my songs or something?
Well, I get that. There's advantage and disadvantage to getting with a record label. Yeah, they can get you more exposure. They can sell 1 million of your albums, but they can also take a lot of your money. What's that?
Record labels are fine if depending on their practices and how they write their contracts, you know?
Right. Because, you know, you hear the horror stories, but more often you hear the stories about, hey, people that made it big because they got in with this good record company and they treated them properly. You know, it used to be back in the 60s, they'd be working 8 days a week and dying penniless, you know?
They didn't know what they were losing in the 60s.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why they were so happy in all their songs, because
Yeah.
because they had no idea they were getting screwed.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, tell you what, sell this song for $10. Well, you know, if
Yeah,
that guy paid $10, he's going to make $1,000 at least on the same
yeah.
song. Yeah, you're selling it off and selling the rights to it. But you're a musician. Back in the day, you did a lot of covers, but you do write your own songs as well. Whenever are you doing shows? Are you open to doing shows out on stage? Are you only in the Austin area primarily? And where can people find you if they want to see a Stephen Walker show?
Right now, like you mentioned, Texas is a very big state, and I'm right in the middle of it. So I don't honestly travel out of state very often. And honestly, I'm a lazy bone, so I don't like to travel out of city very often. But I am trying to get a little bit out more because I love Houston, I love Dallas, I love Fort Worth, I love El Paso, I love all the little towns. So I want to play more shows, and I have played some in the past. But COVID really did a number on everything, and obviously took shows away for the most part. So just didn't do many shows for a long time, and kind of got used to not doing shows and how that felt. But now it's coming back. So to some extent, so it's I'd like to get around a little bit more. I'd like to go over to Arkansas because I'd like to go through Louisiana, and you play anywhere there. But I'd like to play through Arkansas too, honestly. But at this point, there's no plans on traveling.
I got you. Hey, a lot of people do stay in their hometowns, and I think that's smart anyway. Just to stay close to home. Oh man, I
It's
was gonna.
cheaper.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But a lot of people that were affected by COVID ended up creating a whole lot more. Creators ended up doing a lot more recording. Did you find yourself doing a lot of recording over the past 2.5 years?
No,
No.
I stayed home and I was uninspired for 2 years.
Did you do any writing at all? Anything?
One song a year. It was It was a train wreck. I did not like it.
Come on,
I had a
man.
bad time. No, I mean, it was fine. It was. I was, obviously, I'm luckier than a lot of people
Uh-huh.
who had a really rough time during that time. Um, um, but, um, but it was hard for me. I just didn't want to do any music stuff because, like, I don't know, I didn't feel it. But
So,
I also have like all sorts of weird shit going on, so um, it's I don't know.
well, you said
But
you said you were crazy. You self-diagnosed or properly diagnosed or otherwise. But I mean,
well,
have you toned down the crazy a little bit?
yeah, no, I thank God for medication, low key and high key. I would not be able to have a decent conversation right now if it weren't for certain pills, um, uh, just being a little too honest, honestly.
No, I mean,
Um,
people live in chemistry sometimes. Hey, if your brain's not working the way it's supposed to be, or how you think it should be, you go see a doctor. Go see somebody, and maybe they can help to regulate that. I have cousins and people that I know that do the same thing, and they're better off for it. But sometimes it affects
Sure.
your creativity as well. Maybe your muse was in some of that crazy. Maybe some of that chemical imbalance was allowing you to be the creator that you are. Do you feel like you have to give up something?
No, but that's what practice is for. Like you got to practice, and and then you get just used to just doing that, and then it doesn't become like one or the other. It's just like I don't know, not even practice. It's just I don't know. It's more important to not be on fire at all times than it is to play music. So like it's like what pick something. And I would rather pick like not having my brain be overpopulated at all times than even make music, which is sad but true. So I, I just do the important thing first. No, actually, I don't want to say that because that sounds like, like it's prescriptive. Just like I right now believe in medication for certain things, not for everybody in all situations, but for certain things, I really think it can be like the game changer. Because for me it was, and it wasn't until I really figured that out that like I really was able to stabilize in any decent capacity, honestly.
Yeah, you got to take care of yourself before you can take care of anybody else. That's for sure. Get your own house in order. I've seen some even famous people that have gone off the rails, and it's because of chemistry, or you suspect it anyway. I guess Kanye comes into mind. Man, that guy is out there, but
Okay.
yeah, he's out there. But he was making some really really good music. I love that guy. But then
I'm on this medication he's supposed to be on. If he took it, I'm
ah.
telling you, he would have these problems.
Okay, I'll say allegedly, so just so maybe I don't get sued. But
Yeah,
I worry about.
no, I should say I'm not a doctor, and that might just be stuff I'm saying
That's
because I
right.
don't want to. I don't think before I talk very often, so
That's
I'm
right.
sorry if that
Don't.
is offensive.
This is
And
all
it's probably
fuzzy.
not even completely true. It's probably just something I'm saying.
Yes, this is a fuzzy podcast. Don't take any advice from us. I mean, but
No,
you have given people gems. I mean, if people want to travel across the country, I don't know, is hitchhiking the worst way to go? I don't know, but I think that Craigslist thing was a really big thing for a while. People finding, like if you had to have a car taken from one place to another, you can get hired out as the driver of that car.
yeah.
Yeah,
Now that apps that, so people don't do Craigslist anymore, and Craigslist has a bad reputation now too.
everything gets turned into something naughty.
Yeah.
All right, my man. Well, I mean, shoot, what are you open to in the music thing? Are you open to collaborations? Are you wanting to get into a studio? I mean, Austin is definitely a big town, and I'm sure there's lots of places to play there in Austin. Or are you wanting to go to a recording studio and be maybe a studio musician and record with people or sing if they need vocals? Do you play any other kinds of instruments? Are you still into the trumpet and trombone?
Yeah, not. I've tried to pick up the trumpet and trombone a few times, and it's really hard. It's not like a bicycle. It's very
Nope.
difficult to get back into, and but I'm mostly just continuing to do the same music, but maybe I just I don't know. The last few years, it's been mostly what I listen to is like country music, especially like what people would call like old or classic and like outlaw stuff. And honestly, like I'm not I'm not doing it on purpose. I just sit and listen to it all day, because I
Yeah,
like the songwriting so much. It just whatever, it just tickles whatever. Like some of
country
those
music.
songs are
Yeah,
just
yeah, country music
gold.
is generally storytelling. So if you're any kind of a storyteller, between country and folk music, that's where you're telling stories about, hey, maybe even songs about what you've seen on the road going from town to town and the experiences that you've had. Just the story that you relayed to me. I expect it to be in a song one of these days. It's going to come out.
Oh yeah, maybe. We'll we'll see. Um, but yeah, I think songwriting is really cool, and also the sound, just the sound of like the '60s and '70s, like country music that had a bit of a like they smoked pot every once in a while kind of edge to it. Um, uh, that I just feel like that was a really nice time of songwriting and of music, and it's a lot of what I listen to, so it's kind of more and more what I tend to play. But I do come from more like folk music, and then like experimenting with a lot of punk and indie and all sorts of stuff. Just trying whatever I like, whatever I like the sound of.
Yeah,
That's all my music is just whatever I personally happen to like at the time. And then You know, and I have weird projects on the internet that I'll never link to, you know, that are from way back in the day, you
Well,
know, and there's just things like that. You know, it's for me, music, the talking to other people about it is a relatively new thing for me, because I'm a very isolate person.
well, people
But for
people
better or
ask
for
me
worse.
what kind of music I play on my what radio station, and I play whatever I like, and what I like is very eclectic, somewhat like what you're saying. Don't nail yourself down to one genre of music. Good music is good music, man. I don't know what's good, but I know what I like.
I love rock and roll. I love jazz. I love just about every, except there's a couple of things that I don't like, but it's mostly like individual sounds I don't like. But as far as genres, I think there's something in every genre that I just absolutely like would fall over for, you know?
Well, I want you to keep experimenting with the music that you're doing and finding other things. You're a traveling man. You know, whether you've put roots down in Austin, I think in your head and in your mind, you're still a traveler. You know, somebody that goes and wants to find experiences from other people all over the world. And you know, you can find that online now. You can look up South African music and Indian music and music from Russia, you know, and you can mix it all together and make it into Stephen Walker music for sure. You're going to find your jam wherever you go.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. I wouldn't be very good at Russian music. Um, but I do think that you should like use the internet to find all sorts of weird stuff and just listen to everything that you like, and learn to differentiate that and not and differentiate it from like what you think you're supposed to like. And with music, that's like the way to really enjoy it, I think. And then try to just follow those chains. And I think like the algorithms and stuff, a lot of people boohoo it, and I do boohoo it too. But I think that actually they can be pretty good at finding you the right songs and new songs that you haven't heard before. And it's that plus the radio, which is still on, is like it does create a pretty good environment for finding good music out there, because there's, you know, just lots of good music. And we're lucky to be alive right now, because right now we have both music that came out 60 years ago or 50 years ago, plus music that's out right now. And there's a lot of great like music out right now. There's a lot more older music because it's older, but there's a lot of great music right now. And we get both of that. So we're really lucky in that way.
Yeah, you never know where your muse is going to come from. You're talking about, say, mentioning Russia. One of my favorite weddings that I ever did was a Russian Jewish wedding, and I don't know anything about Russian music or you know, hardly anything about Jewish music. But they came to me and they said, "Hey, we want you to DJ our wedding." And the husband and wife, the bride and groom, were first generation American, but her mom and dad were both from the old country, Russia, and he was saying, you know, I don't think I'm gonna want to talk a lot. I know I'm supposed to give a speech, you know, but I'm very scared. I'm, you know, I don't want to give a speech. But he started talking Russian in his speech. He went for 45 minutes just thanking people, and I got a lot of flavor from that, man. And the Russian music, they gave me a stack of CDs. Hey, play this song, play this song, play this song, and I was playing it, and they were loving it. Oh man, just music from all over the world. It's universal, man. And you have a superpower where you can have the music in your head, put it on paper or computer. I guess people aren't using paper anymore. There's an app for that, writing music and such. But you can put it on paper and put it to on a computer and put music on it and put your vocals on it and put it out to the world and change lives, man. That's a wonderful power that you have. You're very talented. And people like me, it's my job to play your music, to share your music. You know, anybody out there, go to Stephen Walker's various links, put a share on it, put a like on it, get him noticed. That's the least you could do. And can we buy any of your music?
You can Bandcamp, Steven, that's spelled the weird way, is Stephen is .bandcamp.com. You can go on there and you can I think almost all the tracks are free, and then you can optionally give a donation. So that's always an option.
Well, fantastic. I have that link right there below in the show notes. So make sure you check out Stephen Walker. Hey, I always like to finish these things off. I wanted to wind this thing down. I don't want this to be the last time that we talk. As time progresses, I invite you to come back and chit-chat, talk about whatever shows are coming up, whatever projects you're working on. If you put out more music, I want you to come back and tell people about it and the inspirations of it. But let's wind this thing down. I've taken some of your time, and you want to give some shout outs to people that have helped you along the way, and then we'll close this thing up.
Yeah, shout out to Vancers as always for providing good sound and help. And then we have a show going on every 2 weeks here in Austin. So if you're in Texas nearby and you want to come visit Austin, or you're in Austin by any chance, every 2 weeks I do the Barbecue, which is at this really good barbecue place in town called JNL Barbecue. And shout out to JNL Barbecue. And it's a new show. And they just moved into that spot, but they have a nice little stage, and it's a gas station, grocery store type situation also. So you can buy like tall boys for $3.38 and get some really good barbecue food. Really good, like with chicharron on the top, and it's really good. And that's what everybody says too. I'm not just saying that. But and nice people too, and it's just a good vibe with songwriters and singers and a little bit of country. And we're trying to get some bands, but we just started it. So if you're in Austin, it's every other 2 weeks starting February 5th. So come by. You playing covers, originals, 50-50? I usually do like 70-30, 70 originals and 30 covers, that somewhere around there. I don't know. That's usually what I end up doing. Some nights I do all covers if I want to. Yeah, whatever the vibe is, you got to read the people and find out what they're up to. It's nice to have that in your repertoire. There's two different ways you can go in this music business and make some money and make a living on it. You could be a party band and play covers all the time, or you could be your own original artist and make money that way. Write the next American songbook, songs that last forever and ever. And that's how you live forever, Stephen Walker, whether you spell your name STEEVN or ST-even. Yeah, I really did not think that through. All right, well, pick one and then brand it, man. I guess that's the wave of the now. Here I am. Confusing. I'm in Arkansas, and I'm still KeysDAN from the Florida Keys. So that's going to stay with me forever. That's from, okay. All right, my man. Let's go ahead and close this thing up. I always like to finish these things off with last words for the people. This could be words to live by, something you heard a long time ago, maybe, a mantra that you wake up with every morning, or just whatever pops into your head at this moment in time. Stephen Walker, give the last words for the people. Thank you so much for having me. The only thing I want, I don't know. The thing I want, I'll just say, because it's been in my head a lot recently, is Billy Joe Shaver. I want to get it right. Yeah. It's nice to be important. More important to be nice. Well, there you have it, party people. Stephen Walker. What a cool dude out of Austin, Texas, from California. Orange County. You hear things. You see movies that are set up in Orange County, and I think I was talking about Orange County. There was a movie called Orange County with Colin Hanks, and I think he was talking about the TV show. I saw the movie with Colin Hanks. I thought it was pretty good. Just people just chilling, having a good time, and surfing, and having some food, and just living their lives. It was about some early 20-somethings living their lives in Orange County, and it's it's what California, what the rest of the country hears California is. Very laid back, very chill. Everything, if you don't make it to the show, hey, oh, I'm sorry, I flaked. That's an actual excuse in California. I flaked. Oh, all right, you flaked. I get it.
Almost any other place in the country, especially as you get closer to the East Coast, if you say I flaked, you might get hit in the head. But yeah, it's why did I go down that trail? Oh yeah, Orange County. So good, man. Stephen Walker, I've been listening to your music. I've been sharing your music, and I hope you go far, man. I hope it takes you where you want to be. And I appreciate you coming on and taking some time to be on the What Makes You Famous podcast and talking with yours truly. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. Now, if you, yes, you, my loyal listener, if you'd like to be on the podcast, the What Makes You Famous podcast, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email keysdan@aol.com. That's it for me. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.